Kimiko will start talking. Kimiko's first real word in the show came at Season 4's end. That single no she shouted in the Season 4 finale didn't just come out of nowhere. She'd spent the entire series silent, using Kimiko sign language with her brother and Frenchie, but this outburst hit like a shockwave. It came during a moment of pure panic when Frenchie was getting dragged away and she was restrained, helpless. The timing couldn't be more deliberate. She's been in therapy, pushing through years of trauma and building the pieces of a voice she locked away. The show's creators even confirmed that her silence was never physical, just a choice she made to survive. Now that choice is cracking. That finale scream felt like a crack turning into a doorway. Fans are buzzing because that scream opened everything up. If she's already broken the silence once, it's very likely she'll keep going. Homelander will become president. By the end of Season 4, Homelander's effectively running the country. Stephen Calhoun, installed as president and canonically the Speaker of the House, publicly swears allegiance to him and declares martial law with Homelander at his side. That scene alone positions Homelander as the true power behind the title, and fans immediately pointed out that it's not a far leap for him to go from shadow ruler to official president. The show has always leaned into satire of political corruption and authoritarianism, and Homelander's image, flag-draped, crowd-cheering, media-dominating, already mirrors a dystopian leader. Vaught's grip on politics, combined with his unchecked control of the military and public narrative, gives him every tool he'd need to make the transition from puppet master to frontman. His popularity hasn't waned, even with blood on his hands and with no real checks left in the system. Fans see the path to a Homelander presidency as not just likely, but inevitable. The groundwork's already there, and by Season 5, it might just be a matter of him saying the word. By the way, if you guys like movie and TV content like this, I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks! Anyways, Butcher becomes the villain. In Season 4, after injecting himself with Compound V, he mutates into something far more dangerous, growing black tendrils that rip Soups to pieces, and he doesn't hesitate to use them to kill Victoria Newman. That was Rage with a body count. By Season 5, Prime Video's own synopsis confirms he's carrying around a virus meant to wipe out every Soup alive, and he's not backing down from using it. That's extinction-level thinking. His moral compass has been cracked for a while, but now it's spinning off the rails. He's front and center, talking like a man who's done pretending he's the good guy. His transformation isn't theoretical anymore. He's got power, a grudge, and a weapon that can end an entire species. At this point, the only thing left is who's going to try and stop him. Queen Maeve will return. Maeve's not dead. She faked the whole thing and slipped away with Elena after that brutal fall in Season 3, and that survival's fully confirmed in the show's official recaps. The moment she vanished from the spotlight, fans started clocking her as a comeback candidate, and honestly, the setup's all there. Eric Kripke already said her story isn't over and even called it likely that she'll pop back in before the show wraps up. That's not a maybe, that's a door left wide open. Maeve still has unfinished business with the Vought and a massive score to settle with Homelander. Gen V added fuel to the fire by hinting at a growing resistance, and there's nobody better to help lead that than someone who's fought him and lived. Even the promotional coverage has been poking at her name again. The clues are stacked. Her return is practically built into the structure. Ryan turns evil. Ryan's father is Homelander, which already puts him at a moral disadvantage, and the show hasn't exactly been subtle about it. From the beginning, he's been torn between Butcher's flawed humanity and Homelander's sociopathic god complex, but Season 4 pushed him closer to the edge. He's used his powers to kill before, even if by accident, and now he's starting to show signs that he's less rattled by violence and more comfortable in it. He doesn't flinch like he used to. The show's already laying groundwork for a darker future, and the CIA's worry about having two unhinged Soups on the loose is a red flag planted right in the plot. Ryan's public appearances are getting bolder, and there's this quiet eeriness in how he watches Homelander that doesn't feel like admiration. It feels like preparation. His choices are becoming colder, his emotions more guarded, and the bloodline he comes from doesn't exactly breed compassion. The show's made it clear he's not immune to that legacy. If Season 5 is about escalation, Ryan going full villain might not be a twist. It might be the plan. Soldier Boy will be the key to victory. Soldier Boy's confirmed return in Season 5 is a tactical advantage baked into the plot. Back in Season 3, he showed that his radiation blasts can strip Soups of their powers, something no other character has done on screen. That single ability makes him the wild card everyone should be watching. He's also Homelander's biological father, which loads their dynamic with personal tension and unfinished business that the show has every reason to explode. Production sources confirm that he's now a main presence, which means his story's being pushed to the front of the line. The boys are outmatched without a Soup equalizer, and this guy literally blasts powers out of existence. If anyone's going to shut Homelander down permanently, It's probably going to be the radioactive dad they left on ice, now walking back into the most unstable battlefield the show's ever built. Zoe Newman will kill Butcher. Zoe's already a confirmed killer with mouth tentacles, which honestly makes her one of the most nightmarish characters in the entire show. And that's saying something. In the season 4 finale, she watches Butcher murder her mother, Victoria Newman, using those grotesque parasite powers of his. And that moment wasn't subtle. It was messy, traumatic, and very personal. Zoe gets knocked out in the chaos, but she sees what happened before it goes black, and then she's carted off to Red River, fully powered and emotionally scorched. Her powers have already left a body count, and she's shown she can kill without hesitation. The power parallel between her and Butcher adds even more weight, because it turns their potential fight into a mirrored showdown. With Zoe's trauma, motive, and raw power already established, the path to a deadly confrontation is set. No dream sequences, no subtle hinting, just a brutal setup for the kind of face-off that ends with one of them not getting back up. A-Train will sacrifice himself for Hughie. A-Train started this entire mess by killing Robin, Hughie's girlfriend, in a Compound V-fueled sprint gone wrong, a moment the show never lets you forget. That single act anchored his role as antagonist early on, but season 4 pushed him into full redemption mode. He turned on Vought, helped the boys, and even saved Hughie's life, showing a complete reversal from the selfish Soup who only cared about brand deals and heart conditions. Fans note this arc as one of the biggest shifts in the series, and fan threads across Reddit have zeroed in on the poetic symmetry of it. He caused Hughie's deepest trauma, and now he's positioned to undo it not by apology but by action. If the theory holds, him dying to save Hughie would complete his journey in the most direct way possible. His guilt, his choices, and the weight of what he did all point toward that one final moment. He's already crossed the line from fame-chasing Soup to reluctant ally, and in a world this brutal, that kind of arc doesn't end quietly. Homelander wins. The season 4 finale shows a tyrant in control. The official season 5 synopsis makes it clear Homelander's taken over, the country's bent under his thumb, and key members of the boys are locked in freedom camps while Annie's stuck trying to spark a resistance from scraps. This all feels like the launch pad for a full-blown reign. Fans have built entire scenarios around the idea that the final arc will be about surviving him. The boys are fractured, the resistance is flailing, and Homelander's grip on power is stronger than ever. Fan theories even push the idea that he could end the show with control beyond the US, maybe even tying into global institutions, which adds another layer to the idea that he might not fall at all. With no clear hero in position to stop him, and the official material painting a world already lost, the theory that Homelander wins feels less like a stretch and more like a grimly logical endgame. Soups will cease to exist. Season 5's entire premise centers on Butcher carrying a virus designed to wipe out every Soup on the planet, and that's not an exaggeration. This isn't just about Homelander or a targeted mission anymore. The virus is a Soup killer, full stop, and Butcher's not hesitating to use it. Prime Video confirmed that his reemergence in Season 5 is driven by this mission, making the end of Soups a legitimate endgame scenario. Eric Kripke's called this season the show's version of the apocalypse, and that kind of framing points to something far more permanent than just another takedown. With Homelander's regime tightening its grip and the boys fractured, the virus is a last resort with global consequences. The arc isn't subtle about what's at stake. If Butcher succeeds, it's not just one tyrant going down, it's the extinction of an entire population. With the virus confirmed, the mission stated, and the tone apocalyptic, the theory that Soups could all be gone by the finale is grounded in everything the show's putting front and center. Stan Edgar is Frederick Vought. The theory sticks around because the overlap between these two figures is impossible to ignore. Frederick Vought is canonically the inventor of Compound V, founder of the company, and husband to Stormfront, whose Nazi past shaped everything that followed. Stan Edgar later rises as the CEO, who knows every hidden truth about Vought's origins. In Season 2, Edgar personally explains Frederick's entire history to Homelander, detailing Compound V's creation. Fans latched onto that moment because Edgar speaks less like a historian and more like someone recounting lived experience. He's involved with Stormfront, oversees projects tied directly to early Compound V research, and protects secrets that trace back to Vought's founding era. Edgar operates above Homelander, unafraid, untouched, and untethered to normal timelines. While canon states Frederick is dead and Edgar came later, the theory feeds on how perfectly Edgar embodies the Founder's original mindset. His calm control, long game strategy, and intimate knowledge make the idea linger. Fans keep debating it. Homelander will die. Season 5 being the final chapter means nobody's wearing plot armor anymore, and that includes the show's biggest monster. Eric Kripke and the cast have teased that no character is safe, setting expectations for major deaths. Since Season 4, he's reached unchecked power, ruling openly and violently, which sharpens the inevitability of a crash. Fan breakdowns keep circling the same pressure points: Ryan's growing distance, Butcher's escalating obsession, and a resistance that's no longer hiding. The comics famously end Homelander's arc with his death, and while the show does its own thing, promotional material keeps hinting at a final confrontation rather than a quiet fade-out. Trailers and interviews frame this season as a point of no return, and that language rarely ends with the tyrant walking away. With vengeance, rebellion, and legacy colliding, the theory that Homelander doesn't survive the finale feels baked into the trajectory for the series. Stormfront is Homelander's real mother. It's canon that Soldier Boy donated the genetic material used to create Homelander, but the identity of his biological mother is never revealed, only that he was lab-raised and carried by a surrogate named Barbara Finley. This leaves a massive gap that fans have filled with Stormfront. She's one of Vaught's earliest supes, originally known as Liberty, and she was active during the exact decades that line up with Homelander's origin window. She also disappeared from the public eye right before his creation, which adds to the speculation that her involvement in Vaught's secret soup experiments didn't end with public service. Her abilities, flight, energy projection, near invulnerability, mirror Homelander's, and that power overlap has been cited repeatedly by fans as a possible genetic link. Their on-screen relationship in Season 2 only amplifies the theory. While disturbing, it plays directly into Vaught's legacy of engineered control, and fans have noted that it might have been built to reflect the twisted irony of him being romantically drawn to his own origin. There's no official confirmation, but the matching powers, missing maternal history, and timeline alignment give this theory the exact kind of disturbing plausibility The Boys thrives on. Hughie will be the only survivor. In the original The Boys comics, Hughie Campbell ends up as the last surviving member of the team after Billy Butcher systematically eliminates the rest to clear the path for his plan to wipe out all soups. Butcher murders Mother's Milk, Frenchie, and the female to prevent them from stopping him, leaving Hughie as the final holdout. These events are detailed in The Boys number 72 and confirmed in the follow-up comic Dear Becky, where Hughie and Annie are shown living in isolation, away from the chaos, having survived the destruction of both the boys and the world of soups. Hughie's eventual killing of Butcher, after Butcher manipulates him into thinking he murdered Hughie's parents, closes out the main conflict and cements Hughie's survival as the final note in the series. Fans, who know the source material, have pointed to these facts as strong evidence that the TV adaptation could follow the same trajectory. With the rest of the team fractured, dying, or on borrowed time, the theory that Hughie will be the only one left standing has a solid foundation rooted in canon. Hughie will kill Butcher. In the original The Boys comics, Butcher's final descent turns him into the very thing the group was fighting against. He launches a plan to eliminate every single soup by force, murdering Mother's Milk, Frenchie, and Kimiko along the way to prevent anyone from stopping him. That leaves Hughie as the last surviving member of the boys, and the climax comes when the two finally face off. Butcher ends up partially paralyzed after a rooftop confrontation, and during their final conversation, he manipulates Hughie into stabbing him, essentially orchestrating his own death. This moment is fully canon and happens in The Boys number 71, with the comic making it clear that Hughie acts out of betrayal, grief, and the horror of what Butcher's become. Fans use this ending as the clearest possible precedent for what could happen in Season 5 of the show. With Butcher's story already veering toward violent extremes and Hughie positioned as the moral center, the theory that Hughie will be the one to take Butcher out is backed by comic history and a very bloody legacy. Who is Homelander punching? The Season 5 teaser gave everyone whiplash with that one brutal clip, Homelander unleashing a vicious flurry of punches on someone off-screen, and fans immediately zeroed in on figuring out who it is. The most widely supported theory, pulled straight from obsessive trailer rewatches and frame-by-frame breakdowns, points to Ryan Butcher as the unlucky recipient. The build, the hair, even the emotional intensity on Homelander's face, It all lines up with a personal moment, not a random beatdown. Fans highlight that shot as one of the trailer's most dissected moments, and Ryan's name keeps climbing to the top of the speculation list. Ryan's been drifting in that morally gray space for a while, and the setup for a father-son fallout has been brewing since season 4. Other names like Soldier Boy or one of the main boys have popped up too, but none of those match the emotional weight packed into those punches the way Ryan does. It's not confirmed, but if that's him, it's the season's emotional nuke. Ashley will team up with the boys. Ashley Barrett's descent from PR puppet to panicked CEO has been anything but subtle, and by the end of season 4, she's reached a breaking point. The finale shows her injecting herself with Compound Phi, a moment confirmed by official sources and framed as a last-ditch move to survive Homelander's purges, not a power grab. She doesn't escape with A-Train, and she doesn't stay loyal to Homelander either, which puts her directly in no man's land. Fan discussions latched onto that ambiguity, especially given how unstable her position at Vaught's become. Some even called her a potential monster, but not in the villain sense, more like a wild card who could flip alliances. It's very possible that she could join up with the boys, at least temporarily, as a way to protect herself or retaliate against the regime that's been squeezing her for seasons. Her fractured loyalty, direct involvement in the soup system, and new powers all point toward one outcome: survival at any cost. And if that means siding with the people trying to burn Vought down, she just might grab a lighter. Season 5 will be the most violent season. This show has never exactly held back, but everything coming out about Season 5 points to them cranking the blood and chaos way past what they've done before. The creators are calling it the most epic and dramatic chapter yet. In knowing this series, that's code for characters exploding like fireworks and limbs flying around like confetti. Each season has ramped up the gore, and this final one is set to push it off the cliff. Social media leaks are already floating around saying it'll be the most gruesome stretch of the whole show, and people are treating that like a promise. The behind-the-scenes crew isn't being subtle either. The cast and Eric Kripke have all hinted at chaos, massive death tolls, and survival being a coin toss. If you've been watching since the beginning, you can practically feel it coming. Every explosive fight and messy death before now was just the pre-show. This one's being built up as the end, and by the sound of it, it'll go out in a storm of blood and bodies. Jared Padalecki's role. Jared is officially part of the Season 5 cast and will appear on screen in Episode 5, which is already confirmed by production credits and his own statement. He's seen in the trailer wearing a tracksuit and standing alongside Soldier Boy, which means his character is actually part of the action and not just a nod for fans. His scenes with Jensen Ackles are baked into the episode's structure. Padalecki's casting came straight from the show's official sources and industry reports, locking him in as a guest star with a defined role. The exact character name's still under wraps, but the fact that he's playing someone new and not just a reused face gives fans plenty to chew on. Since Kripke loves pulling from his supernatural circle, this casting was more of a ticking clock than a surprise. All signs point to his role being folded into the bigger season narrative, not just an Easter egg. Homelander's milk keeps him alive. Across multiple seasons, Homelander's relationship with milk is way past strange. It's ritualistic. He's shown drinking stored breast milk from Madeline Stillwell in Season 2, watching her pump it in Season 1, and later accepts milk directly from Firecracker in Season 4. These aren't one-off moments, they're repeated, intimate, and uncomfortably emphasized in scenes that highlight his psychological instability. Fans connects this fixation to his upbringing in a lab without a mother figure, framing the milk as a twisted symbol of comfort and power. But fans have taken it further, proposing the idea that it's survival. While the show never outright states that he needs it biologically, the sheer frequency and focus placed on milk drinking, especially during moments of stress or vulnerability, have fueled theories that it somehow sustains him physically or regulates something unstable inside him. Other characters even reference it as a known quirk, and the show keeps highlighting it as more than a fetish. The repeated use of milk across seasons, episodes, and relationships gives fans enough to argue it's doing more than filling a glass. It's keeping something inside Homelander from breaking. Sam and Kate will join the 7. The entire structure of Gen V is built around Godolkin students competing to make it into the 7, which is confirmed in the show's official premise and reinforced across the franchise. Sam Reardon and Kate Dunlap are central to Gen V's storyline, and already crossed into the boys proper during Season 4, showing up at the V-52 Expo in Episode 5, alongside Homelander and the rest of the Seven. They stood on stage, took part in the oath Homelander demanded, and were presented as soup figures aligned with his new leadership vision. That moment placed them directly within Vaught's public propaganda machine, and fans haven't stopped pointing out how that context mirrors past Seven introductions. Kate and Sam are both powered, high-profile, and dangerous, with their abilities showcased repeatedly across Gen V's 2 seasons. While nothing's confirmed, every move Vought makes with them signals grooming for greater visibility and authority. Based on how the Seven has always been assembled, their presence on that stage was set up, and fans saw it as a start of a bigger promotion. If you enjoyed this, I post movie content a lot here. I would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.